We're back on Born Before 64 with Dr. Roger Garcia, and it's just so fascinating. I think you should be on a doctorate program. I think you're absolutely awesome.
Thank you very much. I think we'll
You're
do
welcome.
that.
Well, you know, I've had, in my family, we have 2 occupational therapists, and we have orthopedic surgeons, and we've had everyone. But my best friend is a DO, and he was one of the best doctors I've ever met out of Philadelphia, Dr. Joe Cavuto. And, you know, I admire him. And, you know, it's funny because we talked about chiropractors. Actually, I was in an automobile accident many, many years ago, and that doc actually brought me back. It wasn't medication, it was manipulation, it was exercise, it was a lot of things. And it took me a shorter amount of time to get over that injury than I think medication would.
I think, yeah, you hit on something, and that is that we are very good in this country in terms of treatment with medications. We're very poor in prevention.
That's right.
We're very poor in it. I'm an ER doctor, and we're good in crisis medicine, right? And there's no country in the world I'd rather be in when I have a heart attack than the ER here in the United States.
Right.
But before I got there, I should have been talking to a prevention guy like myself, right? Because I
Right.
wouldn't have been there without it. So now that said, the rest of the world in many ways have these alternative, well, these are considered alternative and complementary medicines in the United States, but 2/3 of the world use them. How is it that these people are getting better with these alternative medicine strategies? If we could do this, if we could combine, this is what I try to do, the best of allopathic conventional medicine with third world alternative medicine strategies to get the maximum outcome, I think you're going to find a wellness avalanche.
Well, you know, one of the things I was lucky enough to do was to live in Asia.
Okay.
And way before we started doing different modalities that they use on a regular basis, from reflexology to aromatherapy to all of the different therapies that they have, I was questioning it. And then I started experiencing it. And I lost weight, I felt better, I had less stress. And what we need to do, and I'm just going to jump in here and say this, is we don't smell the flowers anymore. We don't sit out on the back porch. We don't daydream. We don't do some of the things that you and I did when we were young.
You're talking about the mind-body balance system.
That's
the
right.
Mind-body-spirit, which is
That's
very important.
right.
And you're also talking about the relaxation response. You know, relaxation response with aromatherapy, the massage, the meditation, the deep breathing is so important because it's what the monks do, right? They meditate, they take deep breaths, and what they do is stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve to release acetylcholine, and that is the anti-inflammation. You're talking about we're always inflamed with everything in our environment, from the food, water we eat, the toxins we're exposed to, we're always inflamed. We have to douse that inflammation, and part of that is trying to do that relaxation response. It gives you this acetylcholine that gives you a feel-good mood. It helps you with just, and it helps you carry on so that it gives you a feeling of wellness that extends into the rest of your life.
Right. And one of the things that I found out about you prior to the show was that you went to law school and became a lawyer?
Yes, I'm a practicing lawyer on the bar of Ohio. I was out counsel for Colley Shore and Abraham, a law firm downtown Columbus. And I did that with all the respect to the lawyers out there, because I didn't want to be a lawyer all my life. I did that because I was in many ways frustrated with where medicine was going. I was kind of a traditional guy. I was not seeing very much wellness. Most of the people I saw in the emergency room kept coming back. People were dying earlier. I thought, well, perhaps, you know, I will try another profession. I liked, it was very good, stimulating academically, but in the end, I realized that my calling, my passion was as a doctor. Now, when I found the wellness field, it really ignited in me this passion that had been dormant when I went to law school.
Right.
Now, I love my fellow lawyers, and I actually had a boutique practice where I taught the lawyers medicine and the doctors law, you know, and still lecturing law and in medicine.
Well, what did you do first, the law or medicine?
Medicine.
Medicine was first, then you became a lawyer.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting. So contracts, all that kind of stuff. What type of a lawyer are you?
Well,
there's different ones, like doctors are.
I was a healthcare lawyer because it was just
made sense.
Dovetailed into what I do now as a doctor. right?
Right.
It was interesting because I had one foot in the law camp, one foot in the medicine camp, and they knew me there as the doctor who was a lawyer, and then the lawyer was the doctor. It kind of gave me a little notoriety, and I enjoyed that, and then a lecture because of it.
Right.
But and still now it serves me well in my own business because I do my own contracts, I write my own franchise agreements, the whole deal. So
Right.
still am active in the bar, and it's kind of interesting. But I got to tell you, my passion is wellness, not law.
Now, now we see all these wonderful TV shows that are all in a hospital setting.
Yes.
Tell me what's really true and what's not true.
Well, what's true
Right.
is, and one thing that stimulated me and going into the wellness field is that I'm still seeing a lot of people who are dying early. You know,
Right.
chronic diseases that most of them could have been prevented. Bad habits that people go into extend and are magnified later in life. It does shorten your life. I mean, so because of that, we see all the, I've had to pronounce people and tell their family that their father died of a heart attack, at a young age. Those are life-changing moments for them and for me because my own father-in-law died of a heart attack at age 60. And I realized, these are conditions that can be short-circuited if someone had grabbed them early enough.
Right.
I mean, one of the reasons why I wrote this book was to talk about the small incremental steps that you can do early in life that will make big differences and magnify your wellness and your longevity of life, but also, more importantly, impact the quality of your life later in life. I mean, if you want to be fit when you're 95, you kind of got to start early, right? You got to start in your 30s, right? Now,
but it's never too late.
No, if you
it's never too late.
If you quit smoking at age 60, it's better than continuing smoking, but there's been damage until that time. Yeah, but then it improves after that time. The same is true. It's never too late to start. In fact, there is a study that says that men who've been followed by 30 years that does the physical activity you do at age 30 emulate the physical activity you did at age 20. It does. You get the exact same improvement. In fact, you get the same blood pressure, the oxygen capacity, the cardiac output as younger men do when you're in your 50s or 60s. The physiology is the same. It just slows down a little bit, but you can capture it. All those years of decline are captured very quickly within 6 months.
Now, you can buy your book, Age to Perfection, where?
AgeToPerfectionBook.com is one. We're on Amazon. We're at Borders online. I think the main one is AgeToPerfectionBook.com. Okay.
We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back on Born Before 64. We're back on Born Before 64 with Dr. Roger Garcia and his new book, Age to Perfection. I cannot wait to read all of it. Tell me why you wrote the book to start off with. And in the book, do you have the secret keys of success to be a healthier person? And also I want to talk about health and eating properly.
Okay.
So let's talk about that. Why did you write the book, Doc?
It's multifactorial. The main reason I wrote the book because people think that living to age 90 is an accident of your genes. It's not. It's a contribution. But one of the myths of medicine is that genes somehow control your destiny. In fact, you control your destiny. You control your genes. And so those people who live to 90, all of us can live to 90, but you got to be able to do the right things to be able to do it. These are small, not big steps, small incremental steps that are magnified throughout your life that let you live a good quality of life, give you the time you were given, and for a good quality of life until that's over. So I wrote that because everyone can reach it, but no one's educated to do it. Right?
What's the first step? What's the first step?
First step, deciding to change your life in terms of bad habits, for example.
Okay.
Right? Exercise, of course, quit smoking, start eating better, you know.
Smaller portions?
Smaller portions. And
maybe more often?
More often. Well, in the book I talk about the book called The Blue Zones. Those are the longest lived people in the world. There's in certain areas. One, Costa Rica, the Sardinians out of Italy, you know, the Seventh-day Adventists out of California, the Okinawans out of Japan. These are all highly lived people. You know, I think, you know, you women are better than us men. You outlive us for many reasons. Two reasons. You have a lot of melatonin. You make probably a third more, and it's the most highly potent antioxidant. Two is you have friends that are just not just close, they're close friends. And guys are isolated in many ways.
You are isolated?
They don't have a lot of close friends like women. Women can talk and cry and talk about all these things with their women friends, but and you have many of them, because the more socially connected you are, the longer lived you are, and men don't have that much.
Oh,
okay, that's one reason.
That makes a difference.
That's one reason. That's one thing that was seen in all these long-lived people, why they live longer. They have a sense of connectedness everywhere, not just with family, friends, but everything you connected with. The more you have, the more long-lived you are.
Have you ever noticed that one group, the Jewish culture,
Yes.
Jewish men, Bob Hope,
Mm-hmm.
live until they're 100. Bob Hope lived, he said, I'm going to live until I'm 100.
Because they probably have a connection.
Well, he had a social network.
Right.
He was a comedian.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
He ate right.
Right.
He kept working.
He had the mind. Wow, you hit about 4 or 5 different avenues of the blue zone people, and those are eating right.
Right.
More of a plant-based diet, less of a meat-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
You have to control your calories.
Right.
They say if you lose 20% of your calories per meal, in other words, that means eating until you're not hungry, not until you're full. It's easy.
That's
Very
right.
easily done.
That's right.
The mind-body connection with this comedian, very important. These people stop and smell the roses. The author was very interesting. He says these people who live in Sardinia, shepherd herders, would just stop and enjoy the pastures that they've seen for hundreds of years and just take it in and appreciate it. They haven't lost the magic and majesty of life that's out there.
That's right.
You have to, you know, can you just appreciate what you have and be grateful for what you have? So they are able to do that, right? The mind-body connection is very important. Now, you said the other thing, they are groups of people who connect, not just with social groups, religious groups, but family is huge, right? These people don't put families in nursing homes. They bring their older people are revered. They come into the family home, and because of that, they live longer, right?
That's right.
It's a sense of connectedness between, you know, we know we're in a busy 21st century, but it's the fact that the mother's cooking in the kitchen, the father's making bills in the study, the children make their homework. It's still a sense of we-ness, a connection that makes you live longer. It's the people who are isolated, depressed, have no social connection. Those are the people who live not very long. And what happens is the not longevity genes are expressed, right? And for example, if you're depressed, the anti-longevity genes are expressed and they die earlier. The ones who have all these things I talked about, the longevity genes are expressed and they live longer. So this brings me to a very important point, and that is epigenetics is a science.
Epigenetics.
Epigenetics is a science of control above the genes. That's what that means. Epi, above the genes.
Okay.
Which means that who controls it? You do. That we have within our ability to live long, happy lives, but it's up to you. You control it. You know, if you eat well, eat good food, you express the good genes. If you have a wellness and an attitude and a family connection, you're expressing good genes. And this is not just a one-day expression. It's a moment-by-moment expression of then what you eat, of course, and how you feel and how you exercise and how you connect with people. These longevity people have demonstrated these are the factors that make you live long and happy and good quality of life.
Jacqueline, I had the honor of meeting him and cooking with him on my cooking show.
Oh my word.
And he had been my mentor for many, many years. And being 66, and I'm 66, I remember exercising with Jacqueline, and I thought, he's really this really exciting guy. So when I met him, I was so shocked. He was just getting ready to celebrate very shortly his 95th birthday. And he told me from the very beginning of the show, he said, I eat 9 egg whites for breakfast. For lunch, I have a platter of salad. And he brought the platter out that he actually and show people. Then he said, for dinner, I have another protein. It's usually broiled chicken or whatever. He said, if it's white, don't put it in your mouth. And it was like, you know, he really cared about his body, and he could change over anybody that put their mind to it.
I think that's true. I
It
think that's
is.
true.
It
Because when you
is.
start eating like that, you start realizing that these are delicious foods now because they have a 40% more nutrition value than something that's processed. It
Right.
tastes better. It's better for you. I think it wakes you up. It gives you the energy, the vitality, the mental stability. It improves your total outlook.
Now, do you have recipes in here, or do you have any food, anything about food in your book?
Yeah, there is, but there's not recipes. But there are.
No, we should do that.
We should do that sometime. I'm happy to do
You
that.
know, it's really fun because people have no idea if they've never had couscous, or if they've never had flaxseed flour, or if they've never had a raw cake, or if they've never had a raw cookie. They've never seen the vegan side of life.
Yes.
And you'd be really surprised. We did a cooking show yesterday, and we did it as a different type of program for your kids.
Okay.
And it was, well, if you have a shake and you have some French fries and you have a regular burger, it's around 2,400 calories. Lots of fat.
Yes.
So what are you putting into those veins and everything else,
Right.
and causing hardening of the arteries and all this stuff?
Right.
So what we did is we did a mushroom burger.
Good for you.
Okay. We had a healthy shake.
What you're saying, really,
Right.
is, I mean,
Portobello mushroom burger.
yes, that's very good. Very good.
Marinated in really healthy marinade.
It's not just good, but the damage you have done to your body over the years will be reversed by that kind of diet. And one of the myths of medicine, if I can say this, is that somehow when you have coronary artery disease or other atherosclerosis in your body, that cannot be reversed.
Right.
It is reversed. It can be reversed, but it has to be a very strict vegan diet, vegetarian diet.
Right. So then we had sweet potato fries baked. Okay. And I'll have to share that recipe with you. But you know what? We're going to take a break first, Dr. Garcia, and when we come back, we're going to be at the launch of your book.
Very good. Thank you.